Welcome, everybody. We are looking at the chasm that was once my old little torque box on the passenger side of the Mustang. Oh my, poorly timed sip of water there. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Um, all right, YouTube. Got still recovering. Um, it's gonna be an interesting stream today. I don't know how much I have in me, but we are going to try our best here. I think we're gonna want to. Oh, God! What a bad start to stream. I bonk my head. I choke myself with water. God. But we are going to start in here, where we kind of finished last time. I think that's where we should start. Probably the best to start there. Yeah. Try to get that piece off without wrecking the pinch welds. So let me know in the comments what we think of this camera angle for the GoPro. I think I like it. I think it works with, we're trying out some vertical streams today too. I think it works with that too. So if anyone is on the vertical stream and is interested in this project, I would recommend, if you can, go to the horizontal one. I think it in general just shows more of, you get a wider, obviously you get a wider angle of view, but you get to see more of what's going on. You can kind of see me. We've got this dual camera setup, and I think I'm liking it. I think it's nice to see like the outside is long, like as well as what we're working on. You get a little mix of both. But yeah, so that is what we're gonna get started with. I guess I can talk through what we previously gotten done. Obviously, there used to be a big old torque box right here, and yeah, now it's obviously out. We did a good job last stream removing that. We got a great clip of it too. If you want to go check out last stream, there was audio issues because I stupidly had multiple inputs from Streamlabs streaming. But I digress. Some audio issues, but it was really funny. Just that torque box just drops straight down. Pretty good. So yeah, adjusting that maybe a little bit for the vertical viewers. We're trying a wider webcam angle too on the GoPro, so let me know in the comments how you guys like that. I think it's gonna turn out pretty good. But yeah, to finish the recap, we dropped the torque box. We had to do a little bit of cutting. We were able to get uh, this side panel right here kind of out of the frame, but we had to bend that out of the way, along with a little bit of chiseling and a little bit of drilling, finishing up those spot welds. Again, not too worried about that because we're going to fill it back in when we put the new torque box in. So that's that. I've been kind of going back and forth if I want to. Sorry, I'm just noticing level of rot. There is a bit of rot in there. I think just timeline wise, we're not gonna address it. We're gonna try to um we're definitely gonna have seam sealer. I'll probably um grind it down a little bit, or at least wire wheel it and try to put something over it. No, it's not a super long term fix, and it's not the best way of doing things. Um, but at this point, you know, I'm not a professional shop. I need to stop somewhere. um, it's kind of the balance with having a project car like this is that you you sometimes have to do things that if you were a professional car builder you wouldn't do. um, but that's the balance, is finding where you can cut corners just a touch. I try to avoid it as much as possible, but you know I I'll be 45 by the time this car is back on the road if I were to fix every little rust spot. Um, so we're gonna address that. I mean, I might be able to. No, don't talk yourself into it. Don't talk yourself into it. Because where do you stop? Where do you stop? Right there. That's where we're stopping. But yeah, we're going to hopefully today. What's our goal? We want to get this off. We want to peel it off, which I have no clue why it's holding on so tight. We've drilled out so many of those spot welds. Yeah, I don't know. Um, we might have to get the grinder in there. So yeah, we're gonna get that out. Um, that's the minimum that we want to shoot for. But maybe if that takes like 20-30 minutes, I think I'd want to work on where this attaches to the subframe, the torque box to the subframe. This last section here, it is welded on the other side, and they ran a couple seam welds. Not very good looking welds, I will say. Um, who am I to judge, though? So those will need to be cut out and then grinded out because we obviously can't drill out seam welds. So if we could, I mean, best case scenario, I think if we could get both of those done, that would be great. I don't think it's going to happen. And I guess looking into the future, there are 3 spots left, the remnants of this torque box. It's right here on this kind of like kick panel. This is the kick panel, but we're going to call this the kick panel as well, an extension of it. Kick panel, um, subframe, and under subframe. Those are the 3 spots that we are going to try and tackle, or need to tackle before fitting in the new torque box. And it's a 2-piece torque box, so that is nice. We'll surely have a little luck. You know what? I'm just thinking of something. And this could mean absolutely nothing because aftermarket sometimes can suck, but I'm gonna trace a little bit of um, where some of these um, of the original torque box lied to give me a reference point for the new one. Like I said, it's aftermarket, so who knows if any of it will I'll still be able to see it. And since we're gonna have to grind and such, probably won't, but on the off chance that we do, could be helpful. But that's another thing with the spot welds. They will kind of show us where it needs to fit. And the car is level, so we're good in that sense. That is another super important aspect of this, is getting your car level on jack stands. If not, then you are going to be welding the torque box in crooked, and it's going to affect how your car rides, how it corners, all of that. Very important that you get it level. So yeah, let me grab a quick drink. Hopefully I don't choke again. Check in on stream, and we'll get after it. Yeah, that vertical stream's not looking too bad. Definitely still can kind of see um, where we're working. So yeah, it's I think kind of cool. Um, Sorry about that interruption, folks. Hope you enjoyed the little picture, the old picture of the Mustang before it went through a bunch of bodywork changes. What a trip! I'm curious too how. Oh, this thing is still pretty solid. Like, it's not. I mean, I guess there are layers of body panels in the way. I guess, yeah, these rocker panels are pretty stiff. Not going to be able to move them easily. Okay, let's see. What do we think? Here, let's see. Can I get my leg in here without obscuring everyone's vision? No, I think that's all right. I'm very confused at why it's holding as much as it is. All the other ones at least had a little peel to it. I think I'm gonna go in from the other side. Grab a little seating pad. Hope you guys like the butt shot. Little fan service right there. Ugh. Hello. How are we doing? Okay, we got a little lip to work with in here. Gotta be careful. I'm gonna smack my knuckles, and that's how I can get hurt pretty bad. Get this leverage with this hammer. There's a phrase I've been thinking about recently that I think fits pretty well. Sometimes the right tool is the tool that gets the job done. You know, these aren't necessarily, I think that really works with like the garage mechanic, you know, style of working, because, you know, sometimes I'm a younger guy. I don't got a lot. I spend all my money on car parts, not tools. Although it's where a lot of the other money goes, into the tools. But you know, a lot of the times I kind of MacGyver some shit out using a hatchet hammer instead of a, I don't know, an air hammer maybe. Oh, that thing is on there. Lord. Ooh, that had to be a good shot. Just flinging it off. Maybe I'll have to make a compilation. You know, all said and done, really not crazy amount of damage. You know, right here got a little messy. All right, minimum goal was off. I honestly thought it would be a lot harder. That chisel put in some work. But that marks the last of the areas that are held on with spot welds. So now it gets a little trickier, we'll say. So yeah, let's oh, still got a bit of a cough. I'm sure all this rust irritants is not helping. I'm gonna take a quick break. My back's already going pretty hard. Check on chat. Chathu. Yeah, I'm excited to put a little gonna mess with some mics for a quick second, give you guys maybe a little more music. Okay. Yep, we're still good here. Back on, and yep, okay. Looking good there. So I'll keep a microphone kind of by the laptop. God, I'm just sitting here looking at this, and I'm like, man, this is halfway to an acid dip, you know? We've just got this car torn apart. Yeah, we're making some progress. It won't look as extreme today as it did yesterday. Because gosh darn, that was pretty cool, I will say. Pretty satisfying, you know, you're working pretty hard and then cut and cut and cut and then just the thing just drops straight out like that. I really wasn't expecting it to. But I kind of tried to set it up that area would be the last place to go. Let's see where we want to set up this camera. Okay. Okay. Sorry for blinding you guys. It's always a little funky when we're moving camera angles like that. Okay. So this is where we're working. This is a good enough camera angle. Oh my. wonder what happened right here, because that doesn't necessarily look like rust. You know, there's surface rust, but almost wondering if the previous owners, whenever they did body work, they just shot through it with too much heat on the welder. I don't know if you guys can see this with that angle, but not too great. Maybe we'll start with a wire wheel. Might not be a bad idea to just kind of get a lot of that surface junk away. I gotta remember to turn off the mic when I get in range of the other one so we don't have weird feedback loops or anything like that. Taking a break, changing the music a little bit. Sorry if you like this song. Back to Old Reliable. We've been on a kick. We've been jamming out to Skinner recently. Feel free to leave in some recommendations for some songs. We can make a stream playlist. Respond to a couple things real quick. My friend's just sending me some bullshit. Sorry about that, folks. Let's get the wire wheel going. Find it. I do have a little regret for not putting in just the top of that torque box. But you know what? The more I look at it, the more I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know. I mean, it does not look like the factory done it that way, you know? It looks like it was done by the previous owner. No shade to him, but I don't know if I trust it per se. I'd rather do it myself or have it done by the factory. Got a brush. Darn, I just had this place pretty cleaned up, but got pretty dirty again. Apologize to everybody who's in the dark here, can't see what's going on. I'm just looking for my choir wheel. Not to make you guys wait. Sure you don't want to clean the screen. That would be too exciting. slices. Sorry, Chad, I'm usually not this bad. I'm not great at finding stuff, but I'm not usually this bad. Okay, I guess we're just jumping straight to the grinding wire wheel. Gathered a couple more discs to be used. You know we're gonna be grinding. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'll try to project my voice a little bit. But we are going to be doing a lot of grinding. I guess I can turn on my mic for a second. I have this double mic setup primarily to, you know, mute myself or lessen the distance, you know, that the sound can travel from having two mics. So if I'm grinding or cutting or smacking the hammer pretty consistently, oops, sorry, and minimize like just a super bright orb, you know. Still giving enough light to the situation. Yeah, I think we're good here. But yeah, I try to do that so it's a little more manageable. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna be using one of these grinding wheels, a little more powerful. So some sparks shall be flying. So yeah, I'm gonna mute this mic and we'll get to it. Okay. So we can kind of see what I suspected. As you can see, um, some seam welds in here, but super weird where they stopped. Like here, let's see. It doesn't look like they tack welded anything. Shoot. Just trying to find. Here's my screwdriver. Maybe if we. Just curious now. Maybe get it going from this side. You see that, chat? That is something else. I want to get a picture of that. I gotta tell people about this. This is why I want to install my own stuff. It's because of this fucking bullshit. No wonder it didn't ride as good as I wanted it to before we started. Jeez. Sorry, I'm really procrastinating here, folks. But I gotta get a couple pictures of this. The boys back home won't believe me. A SpongeBob reference for you. Absolutely ridiculous. Why someone would do this? My grandpa loves seeing pictures and shit of the previous owners doing stuff. He calls them hacks. Yeah, oh, Jesus. Sometimes you gotta agree with them. Yeah, look at that. I don't know if you guys know. Fat fingers are in the way. And if you can see that wiggle, if you're close enough to it, but that's just not on there. I mean, this is supposed to be a very structural part of your vehicle. This has gotten me thinking. Could we maybe, I'll show you guys with the pen now that we got this nice and cleaned up, run a very light cutting wheel. I mean, some of these welds, it looks like they didn't really get dimes or anything like that, but they got penetration. Where they needed to, but what the heck? Why not, if you're going through and seam welding it, why not finish? You know? I don't get that. I really don't. But I guess it makes it easier to take it off, right? And I guess we can run the cutting wheel kind of like this. Up and over here. Hopefully you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. And in doing that, this should fall out then, right? How ridiculous, though. So the thing to be concerned about is gouging, going too far in. That's going to create more trouble because this is frame. We for sure want to keep this in as much as possible. This part versus is this? Yeah, this is all pretty thick gauge steel, thicker for the vehicle. So yeah, that's key component is I would rather have to pry it a bit, create kind of a channel between the two pieces of metal and kind of pry it out versus go too far in and have to, weld and grind and try to repair. And that's just more trouble than, need be. So we are going to keep it as much as we can from doing that. Let's find our other angle grinder. I'm thinking I want to keep it on this 7-inch disc. Bit of a bad habit from my grandpa, if you ask some people, is using these something like this. This kind of, it's pretty big, but for something like this, definitely will give you more control. I think even in here too, yeah. See, and it gives you clearance as well, which is the important part. So let's try it. Let's mute the mic and get to cutting. Forgot to mention, I don't know if you guys can hear me. I got the safety boot here. Oh my god. I'm ashamed of myself. I really am. Hi, Violet. Hi, big girl. You shouldn't be over here. You shouldn't be over here. Hi, buddy. No. I don't know if you can see me on the big screen. My doggy's over here. She's such a sweet girl. But I'm gonna be very loud. Here. It's gonna be louder than this. Yeah, you don't want to be over here. Try to scare her off with some loud noise. Sorry, miss. All right. Let's get after it. Invested in some ear protection, but it's a story for another day. So we didn't go all the way through, right, to avoid gouging. Except over here, because we had kind of some space to deal with it. Right. top freed up. Oh, ass shot. Another one for you guys. Fan service, fan service. Love to see it. Touch of gouging right there. That's nothing. All right, that's exactly how we wrote up. If you can just kind of see how good their welds are. This one's sticking, but probably. Now, we want to avoid gouging. Brought over some more paddle bits to try out. Paddle bits, not paddle bits. That's for houses and drywall. No. Flopper. Right? Isn't that what they're called? Flopper discs. Gotta take these gloves off. Let's mute the mic and get back to work. Maneuver at home. I don't know. I think we're gonna take a more traditional grinding disc, at least for this application. They are super nice, especially if you don't want to, like, again, gouge into the metal too much. If you just kind of want to thinly slice up, but I think we're kind of doing something more like that. Or maybe we'll use the flat part of the disc. All right, let's try this. Okay. Let's see how we're looking. Got a little bit of residue left. See if we can take our screwdriver and just kind of see if that just peels off. Nah, not really. Got a little left to go, I guess. And I guess this side too. That's right there. Guess we'll have to patch that area right here. See, whatever that idiot did to really screw it up. Yeah, I mean, we're about to hit our quota for the day. You know what? This might be a good time to use the flopper, the flap disc. Flap disc, that's where it is. But once we get this, I think it's break time for me. Okay, let me mute Mike. Okay, folks, I think we're gonna call a timeout for the moment. I gotta sit down, move the camera so we can chat. Yeah, let's try that angle. Okay, I guess you really can't see me too well, but there we go. All right. Can't move up in chords here. All right, chat. What do we think? How do we do there? Been going for about an hour. Let's see our viewing angle. Oh, we totally dropped it. Like that. There we go. All right. I think we're gonna take a quick break. I'm going to all right. I will be right back. Gonna go inside the washroom. Enjoy the Stevie Ray Vaughan. All right, folks. Get ready for some ASMR. I'm eating a sandwich. the enemy, the infidel. Guess we can hang out a little bit. That's one thing I want to capture from this stream. Something a little authentic, you know. Show you what it's like to build a car in your garage. With the added twist of I'm also disabled, so you know you can see what it's like 2 hours a day. That's all I really got in the tank at the moment, but we're making progress. Um, good view of the garage a little bit. Something super handy to have is countertops like those. Um, I found them on Facebook for free. Stuff like that, watch out for, you know. It's a pretty good find. But little things like that just make it a lot better to, you know. And I mean, it's like old school metal shelves. So, pretty pumped about that. Some guy was just moving, didn't want them. Not to flex, my point was just kind of you got to take advantage of some of the situations, you know, that you're left with. See if you guys can get some more music going. So let's talk about it. We got what we were looking for today, um, which is awesome in an hour. You know, obviously we're gonna try to maybe we'll put another half hour in, 20, 30 minutes. Um, see how we can do. You know, maybe we'll be able to get something good going at the bottom. Man, I'll tell you what though. Maybe it was just because my back was hurting when I started, but I mean it still is. But sometimes it pays to be a little pessimistic because look at us, we are exceeding our expectations. I thought we were just gonna get uh, the one straggler on the kick panel off today. But here we are. I guess that's a lesson in, you know, don't set your expectations too high when you're working on the project. Just kind of enjoy working on it, enjoy, every time you're out, you're making the car a little better, even if you're making it a little worse, because, you're teaching yourself. Um, so yeah, now we're one step closer to taking this thing back on the road. For anyone tuning in who's new, we've already finished putting in the driver's side torque box. Now we're up on the passengers. I might record it as a time lapse. The installation of the second toolbox or torque box, because I've been planning with my uncle and a friend of mine doing what we call a weld-a-thon, where we are going to try to take 8 hours to weld it all in one day. Um, Knowing them, I think they'd be all right with filming it. But they probably wouldn't want audio, so it's probably a no-go for a live stream. Um, Maybe I can do some recording and make like a time lapse type thing, and just show you guys that way. It would probably just be of the GoPro. Oh, buckets! Can we get some buckets in the chat? Okay. Scarf down that sandwich. See what songs are up next. Okay. Okay, setting up a cue. Let's get back to it. Goal, 20 to 30 more minutes. That way I can get an hour and a half on the belt. You know. Oh, yes. Song Curtis Low, Curtis Low. I got you drinking money. Just kind of getting all our tools organized a little bit before I lay down. These wheels up here. Okay. Sorry for the bad camera angle at the moment on the GoPro. I'm getting down here. Oh. Okay. Yeah, that's where we want to be. Let's see if we can bend this back up a little bit. Yeah, we'll have to reinforce that a little bit. That's not too much of a problem. Okay. I think we start the same way as we started last time, and that's this time, you know, we can use something a little less aggressive, wire wheel wise. Position this right on my back. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's nice. It's like laying down. That's the wrong area. What am I doing? Okay. Okay, I feel a couple spot welds here. These what I presume to be spot welds. Quite a couple spot welds. You're thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I presume that's the tack weld. Okay. I guess we're not cutting today. We're drilling. Ugh. Did not. That's not what I expected at all. What am I doing? That's, again, the wrong piece. Jesus, Murphy. Lock in, Alex. Lock in. Sorry, keep moving. We're just going to market them for the moment. Oh, sorry for the radio silence, everybody. Ugh. Get a little quieter when I'm, feeling it with my back and everything a bit. But I think we want a bit of a smaller, sharper drill bit. I think we had one going a little earlier. Well, this one's smaller, but I don't know about sharper. Let's see, how's this one looking? Okay, I think we found our bit. I don't know how much smaller it is, but I think it's a bit sharper. Really should have just gotten some carbide bits, but you know, we're in the end game now. I guess not quite. Beginning of the end, I guess you can call it. Yeah, oh, this is a bit smaller anyways. We gotta be a little careful not to go in too deep. Um, we do not want to destroy the metal underneath. I think again, I don't know where I put my other drill bits because I had a better setup going for sure. I think it's worth looking for them, especially if we're. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I found them. See, that was quick. Yeah, these are much sharper. Ugh, you picked them out for a reason. Yeah, see that? It's a world of difference. Sorry about the shake. Ooh. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah. Okay. It's the same size drill bit. Let's try this one. Get burned here. What'd I do for this car? I guess we gotta get the smaller drill bit back out. Oh, sorry, chat. Oh, okay. Oh, let me give me a second. Oh. All right, folks, we might be calling it there. Ugh. We got to start it on the bottom area. That might be all I got in the tank. Let's see how we doing time-wise. I got 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, I think that's gonna be about it. Whoa. Okay. Well, with that being said, I think I'm signing off. If you guys have been enjoying, or if you're tuning in for the first time and enjoy the stream, I'd really appreciate. sorry, I was probably double mic there. I'd really appreciate if you guys would like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all the content, all the progress. There will be a lot more coming in the future. I'm gonna start making some YouTube videos, and we're gonna have fun with it. Alrighty, y'all.